All right, everybody, welcome back to the best hour of their day. Fern here. I am here with my good buddy and longtime friend, Mr. Paul Tremblay. And if you guys don't know who Paul Tremblay is, you may have seen him at the games. He's how many years have you done the demo team, Paul?
Oh man, the demo team 5 times. I've been on a demo team more times than I've competed.
Which one's worse?
Like on the body or on the
Yeah,
ego? Because on the ego, the demo team is pretty
for
tough.
sure. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
totally get that. Where like you really just want to be on the other side of that. But like I don't. The demo team doesn't seem super fun a lot of the time. Like
No, I mean, Dave puts us through for sure. It actually was worse when we were in California because a lot of the workouts were being tested hours or days before the event.
right.
Yeah. Whereas now, he'll have some people up at the ranch early in the
Yeah.
year to test a bunch of workouts, and then come Madison, we'll just tweak a few things. But it's not that physically demanding anymore.
I'll be sure to let Dave know so he can
Yeah,
ratchet that
yeah,
up for you guys. Yeah, so most of you guys in the CrossFit community, I know Paul, but so we're not going to talk a ton about the games. We are going to talk about, so he is on the seminar staff. He is an affiliate owner in Ottawa. Did I say that right? Is it Ottawa? I can't get that
yeah.
Canadian.
Ottawa, Canada, you got
Okay.
it. No,
I
that's
can't.
right on.
But he owns CrossFit NCR. And how long have you guys had your affiliate for?
Since 2013, so early 2013.
Okay.
Around February, March.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then
coming up on 6-7 years. Yeah.
And then how many years on seminar staff? I think about the same as me.
4.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah, I got on
last
staff
year.
in 2015.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, because I was like 2013. Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I do have a question. Which one are
Yeah.
you more proud of? Are you more proud of making it to the games or being on seminar staff?
Oh man, what a
That's
question.
a tough question.
That's a great way to start. Man, I'll be honest with you, making it to the games.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think making it to the games I'm pretty proud of. I think looking back in a couple of years or in 10 years, 20 years, maybe I'll have a different point of view or a different mindset. But I think qualifying for the CrossFit Games when I did in 2014 or 2012 and then 2014, pretty damn proud of that. Pretty damn proud of that athletic accomplishment.
I mean, you should be. I'm not
Yeah.
downplaying the games at all. Like that's
Yeah.
legit. So
It's what's funny, Fern, is I have a conversation often with people close to me that, what are you most passionate about? Are you most passionate about coaching, or are you most passionate about competing? And I don't have an answer really. It's tough for me. It's a gray area. I love both so much, and I get so much out of both that I wouldn't be able to say. And I think the answer sometimes is like, hey, if I had to pick one thing for the rest of my life, I either coach people for the rest of my life, or I can either train for the rest of my life.
well, the problem with that is one of those is not realistic though. Right? It's kind of like cheating,
exactly. Yeah. So maybe
really
okay,
cool.
give me for the next 5 years, you can only train or only coach. I only train.
I think that's fair because you're still capable of doing that. Like I'm well past. I was actually talking about this the other day with somebody and I think, and you might feel a little bit the same way, but probably not. So like I have kind of lost the passion for competing, and I think it's largely due to the fact that like I played basketball. Like I was only ever involved in team sports, and I missed that. Like I don't involve just punishing myself for no particular reason. Like it was always because I was on a team. And I know you played hockey, if I say
hockey, hacky, whatever you
want. But like if like the only way I would like get back into training and like really hit it hard is if I was on a team of some sort. Like that's the only thing that would get me to like get up early, start training, like start like full blown weighing and measure my food again. Like I think that's the only thing that would get me to do it.
Yeah, and if you relate that to CrossFit, then that's probably what a lot of guys are doing, right? Like a lot of guys are going from that individual competing to, hey, let's just hop on a team, and that's what can keep me going in training. But
well, I think initially it was because people thought it was easier, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. Well, statistically speaking, it's harder to get to the games on a team than it is as an individual now, right?
Because there's less opportunities.
Yeah, less opportunity and less people who actually qualify, and you have to win an event. Whereas you know, it's not just winning your country or, you know, qualifying through the Open or finishing 10th at an event that 10 games athletes are there and are qualifying ahead of you. Not that that's bad, just there's just less chances of getting there. But there's something to be said about that team aspect of training, man. And you felt it in team sports, and I've never done any individual sports really, aside from
I
golf.
haven't either.
But and golf, I'm not a good golfer. I just do it for fun. But you know, competitively, never done anything as an individual. So that's why, like, the CrossFit individual career or whatever that I had, it was definitely something different. But the beauty of that is you're always training with people. Like, even though you're an individual, you're always trying to train with other people, so you still get that camaraderie aspect, and you know, getting put in training. So you can almost feel like you're on a team, but when you're on the floor, you're definitely not.
Yeah. I just have a hard time like pushing past some of those like pain points, because I'm like, what is this for? Like, I'm not gonna win anything. Like, nobody's depending on me over here. So I'm just like, and I'm also just not that fit anymore. So that makes it easier to not compete too. So
the body has made the decision for you.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm totally fine with relative intensity these days.
Yeah.
So your business partner, Pete Shaw, who I want to have on the podcast as well, just qualified for the game. Speaking of that.
Yeah, he did in Argentina. Yeah.
And are you going to give it? Are you still giving it a shot? Like, is your goal to try to get there this year?
Yeah. It still is. It's awkward, man. Like, in my head, I have these battles that, you know, do I still want to go? Do I still want to compete? Is it still like a real goal of mine? And I think it is. Like, I just still really enjoy competing. Like, the training aspect is fun, and I think I'll always enjoy training and training with a purpose. But the competition aspect and being on the floor is just like it's a wild high. And it's like I'm almost like addicted to it, and that's why, like, I did so many sanctioned events last year just because I had so much fun.
How many did you do?
I did 4 last year.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy because when they announced the sanctioned events, I'm like, this is stupid. Why the hell would you want to compete so much? You know, because I was always used to, I would never do any other competitions but regionals. Yeah. And then hopefully the games. So, you know, I had that mindset of like, why would you compete so much in a year? And I remember these guys that would go to Wadapalooza and Dubai, even before these sanctioned events, and get all these competitions under their belt before regionals. And in hindsight, I probably should have done that. I probably should have just competed a little bit more.
That's an interesting take, because there's very few other sports where like the Olympics is probably like the closest thing where like you just train for like one opportunity. Like in every other sport, like I've got a season, like I'm going to do my preseason. I've got my conference or whatever it is. And then I've got potentially the playoffs and then into championship. And it's like, I would never practice basketball like for a year to play one game and then hope that went well. I'll be like, shit, I mean, like, this is like flipping a coin. I could just have a bad game. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah, that's why, like, I think the regional format, you know, rest in peace, was so awesome. You know, the stakes were so high. I did all the sanctioned events last year, and no sanctioned event felt like regionals in terms of
it's do or die
stakes. Yeah, it was do or die. It was wild. It was like, and if you made it to the games, it was like you had one shot of going and you did it. Like that's why, like, you know, that's huge, and that's why the regionals was fun. But
I do agree that it does make it more exciting. I just don't, from an athlete standpoint, I'm like, I just don't know that it's fair. Like, it's just like, man, there's some people that probably, you know, could be there and could perform well that are not, which is why I do like the sanctional format a lot more. But on that same token, like when you get to the games, like that's the playoffs. Like you don't get I love the cuts. Like that's like So I look at sanctionals like that's your season, and you can have bad games throughout your season. Once you get to the games, like I think you've lost the right to have a bad game, like in the playoffs anywhere else. Like if you lose, like that's it. Like you just just suck it up and get ready for next year. So
see you later. Yeah, it's become like qualifying for the games was like, oh my God, that's amazing. You're going to the games, that's great. And now it's not like, oh, you qualified for the games, cool. How far did you get?
Yes. Yeah.
How far did you get at the CrossFit Games? Because like, you got your name on your jersey, but did you go home after one workout? You know, at the end of the day, like, was that worth it? I was talking to someone this week. I'm like, I don't know what I would. If you told me you could go to the games, but you'll get cut first workout, I don't know if I'd say yes. Like, I don't know if I would go. You know?
I mean, I get what they're doing, and I think long term it's going to be great. But I agree with you. I'm just kind of like, man, I got there for one. I got there. It's like just get like if it's one of those things where just get blown up on day one. It was like, man, I don't like. I was embarrassing. Like, why'd I even show up here? You know, like.
Yeah, I would. I'd feel terrible, and I know some guys that happened, and they did feel terrible. You know, and it's fueled their season going forward for sure. But,
and that's why I think long term it's a good thing. That exposure is gonna drive training and adaptation in a lot of those like newer areas and countries and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be cool. But yeah, I definitely that's a funny way to look at it. Is like, you made it to the games, well, how far? Because then that tells me something entirely different. It's just like, okay, cool. But I also think it's cool because like I like the fact that a lot of those old scenarios where like the leader can basically like tank for a couple of days and then make it up on the back end. It was just like, man, if you're that bad at something, like I don't know that you should go to the next round. You know? So
but I mean, you give the lecture, right?
Yeah.
Typically best across all tests. And if everyone doesn't perform the same test, then is it really, or do we really have who we have at the end of the weekend? I mean, yes.
I think so. Yes.
Frazier won. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think there's like, I think a lot of it doesn't change. It just creates more excitement. So like, I think largely there's 5 to 7 guys who are actually there to play, and everybody else is there for potentially like making it another day. But I do like the fact that like, if one of those athletes like a Frazier or somebody else has a bad day, that could bump you out. Like, that could be it for you, which I think is fair. So anyway,
you remember Savon's videos? Savon's like behind the scenes videos at regionals and everything.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. So he just used to go around and he asked like, do you think you can win the CrossFit Games? And he would just ask people, and then he was waiting for that one person to say like, no, I don't think I can. And to be really honest, like, hey, no, I don't. You know what? I don't think I can beat Frazier.
Yeah.
You know, of the guys who were qualifying, I remember talking to him behind the scenes, like, hey, has anybody said they can't yet? Because that's what they're thinking.
Yes.
Like, stop bullshitting me. Like,
you can see it in their eyes. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure Noah Olson is a good dude, but like this from years of competing, like 2 decades of competing at a pretty high level. What I saw, I'm not saying this is accurate, but what I saw is like he actually wanted no business with that leader jersey. Like he did not, he was not comfortable being chased. That's what I saw on his face on the floor. And I'm like, I get it, dude. Because Frazier was the complete opposite. He looked like he would have knifed his mom to win.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
exactly.
Nobody wants to be chased by that guy.
I think there's definitely a couple guys at the top that truly believe they can win it, and it's possible, but 90% of the games athletes are like, nah.
No, I'm just here.
I probably can't beat him.
I'm here to get some cool gear.
Yeah. Maybe let's finish as high as we can.
Yeah. Cool. So now, how, if at all, how has being an athlete helped you as a coach and in your affiliate? Because I typically would look at that as almost a detriment.
Yeah.
But I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
I think so me qualifying for the games like 6 years ago now almost, what it's done for me as a coach is it's opened up a lot of doors. So like I was able to meet a lot of great people, and through that like as soon as I had the opportunity to talk to someone that could get me on staff, I made it happen. Right. So, and I don't think that those opportunities would have come if I hadn't been in the games. Maybe they would have, but in a different way. So, for example, like when I was at the game, the after party, I remember talking to EC.
Yep.
You know, and I met EC and we just started chatting. And then I said, hey, I'd love to get on staff. It's been something I wanted to do. And then Paul sent me an email, you know, a couple emails down, and a couple months later, I have an internship. And, you know, so like in terms of being an athlete and going to the CrossFit Games, the doors that's open for me as a coach, that's definitely helped.
Yeah, I definitely think it's one of those things where, like, if you have aspirations to do other things and you don't utilize that notoriety, like, I think that's foolish.
Yeah.
But the other question I have is it true that during your internship you overhead squatted a participant in one of the after parties? Or not the after party, but after one of the socials?
Yeah. So intern one, and like, you know how it is, like intern one, like you gotta, you know, you just gotta be there and don't be a nuisance and just be part of the team. And I knew Jason and I knew like McDonald, and I knew the other guys on staff too already. So I was already very comfortable with everyone, and
yeah,
I would think I was pretty much fresh off the invitational.
Okay.
So it was like right after the invitational. So, you know, CrossFit News, like clean and jerk a shitload of weight, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so these girls were like asking like, hey, can we take a picture with you? And like, yeah, take a picture. And then one girl was like, my friend wants you to overhead squat her. And I remember I'm an intern. I got the black shirt. Like I looked at Jason and he's like leaning back. You know, Jason, he's like leaning back. He's like,
yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
That raspy ass voice.
Yeah. I'm like, all right. So overhead squatted a couple of, and then like two other girls were like, oh, I want to do it too. And yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Just for
I love hearing Jomo tell that story. He's just like, yeah, I think Tremblay is going to be a good addition to the team if he can make it through.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the internships was with Jomo too. And that's another funny one. It's like he was into kettlebells a lot.
Yeah.
At that time. And I was still like, you know, competing a lot, and I wanted to like train hard at lunch, and he like took out some kettlebells and we started doing like halos and stuff. And I know I'm a rookie, so I'm like, I shut my mouth and I just grabbed the kettlebell and I just started doing fucking halos and whatever. And then we did like this little workout. Anyways, I remember thinking like, what the hell? But shut your mouth and just follow the flow master.
That's great. Yeah. Well, so on that note, I think it's funny when people don't recognize that.
Yeah.
Like they come recognize on, like, well, they recognize that like sometimes your job is to follow other people's lead, where it's just like, I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm like, probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And that doesn't usually happen when people have played sports their whole life.
I know.
Or like team sports. Yeah. That team mentality that you have on staff is very similar to what we had growing up in our team sports. But yeah, if you know, you got to know how to be a rookie. You got to know how to take orders, even though you
know your role.
You just got to know your role. Yeah.
know your role. Know your role. So I want to talk. We talked a little bit about it when I did the podcast with you and Pete, the NCR podcast. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper because I wanted to talk about. So there's not a ton of people on seminar staff who've been to the games. It's like a handful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the games kind of as it currently exists. I mean like post 2012. And kind of at what point did you kind of make that decision that you really wanted to be not just a good athlete, but you wanted to really dive into the coaching aspect and be like a world-class coach?
Man, when I did my level one, I remember seeing the guys up there and thinking, you know, these guys are so good at what they do. And, you know, how you feel at your level one, it's like I wanted to be the person giving that feeling to other people.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think, I did think obviously like I want to become a better coach and all that stuff, but I've always kind of thought that I would maybe make a teacher one day. So, and that was kind of the path that I was on originally in high school and a little bit in university. So it's like when I saw that and I saw the guys at the front and how good they were and how it was molding fitness and teaching and coaching, I was just thinking like, this is something I got to do.
Yeah.
Right. So, and in turn, how that helped my affiliate is wildly invaluable. Like, or, you can't put a value to it. It's insane what I think me getting on staff has done for the gym. Just in terms of how many amazing people you meet. Like everyone on staff is just so awesome. You learn something every single weekend. You're not the best coach on staff every single weekend, right? Mm-hmm. You're getting feedback. And there's something to be said about doing a job while someone is watching you. No one's watching you at your affiliate. It's just people are just getting used to getting to routines and just staying normal, not getting better as coaches. And it's just that's remotely impossible if you're on staff. Even if you just work once a month. Like, I don't work that often. I got my sheet in the mail the other day. I've only worked 65 seminars, right? Like, I was actually kind of surprised. Like, that's not that much. I think I'm about a 15 a year.
Okay.
And even with that, like, what I've been able to learn or what I've been exposed to in terms of flow masters and coaches, and you're all affiliate owners too.
Yeah.
How many Saturday nights you've made this podcast for exactly this, right? Like Saturday night dinners and shooting the shit with other affiliate owners. Like, the amount of ideas that I've had for the affiliate and how to develop new coaches and bring people on board with you. Like, all of that just stems from basically having mentors that have done it before me.
How do because I always like to figure out, like, was there something that you did? So, because coaches always ask, they're like, hey, so obviously the question comes up, I want to wear the red shirt. I want to be on staff. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of made that decision, like, was there something that you started doing in the affiliate every day? They're like, okay, this is what I need to get. Like, how did you start to essentially get better at, like, teaching, seeing, and correcting?
I just started thinking about it more. So one kind of big milestone for me was obviously doing my level 2 and realizing that I was a shitty coach. So, and like, obviously that was eye-opening, and coming back to the affiliates, always thinking like, I'm not that good. Like, I was just told and I was just shown what a good coach is. Like, I just saw it, and this is not what I'm doing. So, and that was basically it, right? The seeing, correcting issue was what we see on at level 2s, right? And that's usually the case. So that was the same thing for me. I remember Austin, I had it with I took it with Maliolo, taking my hand through the circle and saying, like, what do you see in this squat? What do you see? And I remember thinking, like, I got nothing to say to this guy. And I run an affiliate. I'm telling you, man, like, I run an affiliate. Like, I think I'm a good coach. Like, we're successful so far. So it was basically taking that with me after, like, I need to watch people move. And that's when I started, like, really diving into to the movements, to how to make people better, like, in that moment. Like, I just started getting obsessed with, like, I'm going to watch someone move and I'm going to find something. Like, I don't think I had that sort of mindset before that. And that was a big turning point for me, just that level 2 and realizing I'm shitty. And there's always going to be someone better. And how do you get better? You just, every single time you watch someone move, you got to think about it.
I've always struggled with, because people ask me the same thing, and I'll give them drills and different things to do. But I always come back to almost the same thing, which is you have to try harder. You have to try harder as a coach. And we see this at level 2s. And because I've done 2 level 2s in the past 10 days. I just had like a 10-day trip where I did level 1 on a weekend. Level 2 on a weekend, a midweek level 1, and then a level 2 on the weekend. And the level 2 participants, it was all the same. It was all, they would coach for a couple minutes and they'd be like, I think it's good. And I would just ask them, like, could it be better? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, then keep going. And they're like, where do I start? And I'm like, pick somewhere, just pick something. And if it's not perfect, fix it. And just trying to get people to turn that light switch on that, like, okay is not good enough. That's when I think you start to open up your eyes to, like, you watch people move and you're like, oh my God, I can fix so much more on all of these people. And like, just because it's not a disaster doesn't mean it's good enough.
Yeah.
But it's
I think a lot
it's
of
always
people,
been tough for me to like express that to people.
but what you have and everyone on staff has is that exact same mindset, but with your coaching as well.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we say on the weekend, like we do. Like when I
Yes.
tell people, like, you got to watch what you're looking for, you got to, you know, and I'm telling them to be better at movement. I try to look at the way I coach, and I think of the class that I just gave, and I'm like, how can I have made that one better? Like,
Mm-hmm.
was Lauren having a good time in my class? Like,
Yes.
I actually think about that, and I didn't always think like that. And that's what we kind of try and tell our coaches. And it's really hard to tell part-time coaches that, and to have them have the same kind of like passion and
Yeah.
understanding. But it has to go through your mind. Like, you have
Yeah.
to ask yourself at the end of the class, and that's what, that's the name of your podcast. But was that the best hour of the day? Like, could I have done better?
God damn it. Yeah. And it's just something that it's like, some people just they don't know what they don't know. So we have to like what you said, which is, once you saw somebody run a top-notch class, like, and again, it's no different than like playing sports. When you go up against a hockey player or somebody who's good at basketball, and you're like, oh, that's really good. I can't lie to myself about like where I'm at anymore. I'm like, well, I sure as shit can't do that. Like that,
Yeah.
I'm not that capable. So I got to get back to work. And I
Yeah.
think the key has always been, what I've always tried to do is like constantly trying to get that feeling over and over, like which is kind of weird, is like constantly trying to put myself in a position where I feel inadequate, because all it does is drive me to be a better coach. It's like,
Yeah.
at what point am I going to no longer feel that way? I don't know, probably never, because it's just not in my nature, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We have something a little bit on that same mindset or thought process. Is like, at the gym, we have obviously Pete and myself, and then we have another partner of ours, Reza, who I started the gym with, actually. Reza and I started the gym, and
Okay.
then we brought Pete on later on. He's actually on kids staff. And the other day we were talking about, like, why is the gym successful, and where could it be better, and what could we do to change, and blah, blah, blah. And I told him, like, I think the gym is really good because we're in constant competition.
Yeah.
And Reza was like, what do you mean? I'm like, Reza, when you're in my class, I want to give the best class possible because I want you to see it. And I'm thinking, like, I want to be a better coach than you.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a better coach than Pete, just like I want to be a better athlete than Pete.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm extremely happy if he is a better coach than me, or tries to be as well, but that's the competition.
Yeah.
So like, if I'm just stagnant or just getting used to the way I coach classes, or used to my members, then Reza and Pete are getting an edge on me. So like, that's kind of how I'm thinking. Like, I always want to impress them. If they're in my class, I want to impress them. If any of my coaches are in my class, I want them to leave the class thinking, like, holy shit, that was an unreal class.
No,
and that's why I asked myself that after. It's like, was it an unreal class?
Yeah. Now that you're bringing that up, I do that. So you have 3 coaches at your facility that are on seminar staff. I have myself and another coach. So Cassidy is my head coach here. And now that you say that, I do that too.
Yeah.
Like, he might not even be in the class. He might just be in the gym, and I'll be like, I'm going to try to smash this class. And then like I want them to walk away almost thinking like, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's take that even deeper. I think about that, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is that just about me, or is that about my members? But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I want to give the best fucking class possible, that means everyone in the class will benefit from that.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, obviously the relationship is, but it almost starts at like this selfish need of being the best coach possible.
Well, but I think it is selfish, but it's kind of not selfish. So I think there's a difference between like I want to compete and I want to win, versus like, I'm doing this so that everybody will recognize me. And I don't think that's where like true competitors don't think like that. That like, in my mind, like, losers think like that. Like, they're like, I want people to shower me and with love and affection. I'm like, I don't actually care. But what I do care about is like, I want to compete. like, and if nobody sees this one-on-one competition that we have, like, I'm totally cool with that. But like, it gets me fired up. So, so do you guys regularly give each other feedback at the facility?
To each other, not that often, on like our classes, mainly because we do get a lot of feedback, like during our seminars and stuff like that. So, you know, we leave that, to the weekend. We do give each other feedback on like other things. Obviously, like we all have our different jobs at the gym. Like Reza takes care of all the programming, Pete is all the class planning, and then I'm kind of the behind the scenes and the social media and stuff like that. So we'll to each other like that, like, hey, have you thought of trying this or doing that? We'll give a lot of feedback to the coaches at the gym. We have, I think, 7 or 8 other coaches. One of them is full time, so we'll give them a lot of feedback, and we'll organize like every once in a while, like a full week of like feedback sessions where so us three, we've kind of established that that mentor-mentee relationship that we have on staff just at the gym. So Pete's got, you know, 2 or 3 of our coaches. I have 2 or 3, and then he does. So we kind of take care of our group. But yeah, to each other, not that much. Right? Like,
yeah, we don't either. It's more like in passing. It'll be a question about, hey, how did you do this in your class? Like, or like, hey, I was just walking through this progression that I'm trying out. Like, try it out and let me know what you think. Like, I don't know if it's going to work or not, stuff like that. But yeah, it's much less, to at least to he and I, like that kind of like official feedback. It's more so I do that with some of the other coaches though, or just kind of pull them to the side and, you know, run through a lesson plan with them or stuff like that. So
something that's a little more frequent, I don't know if you do this, is I'll finish a class and sometimes I won't be happy with like something I did or how something went, and I'll go fishing for that. Like, I'll go talk to Pete and Rez and be like, what would you guys, like, what did you do here? I tried this and like I didn't like it. You know, how did you coach it this morning or whatever, without them necessarily like seeing it or being there. So and being able to bounce ideas with people and just going back and forth is huge. Like, I don't understand how people run affiliates by themselves. Like, it's so hard.
That would be, well, I do, because I used to do it and it was lonely, man. It was not just like lonely, like I'm in here by myself, but like it was like mentally lonely. It's just like, man, I don't have anybody to like banter with, to bounce ideas off of, to be creative, to like, to challenge my thought process on things, and to provide some other input on things. How do you, so you guys have 3 owners at the gym? So that's pretty rare.
It is.
So clearly, so my first question is, who was on seminar staff first, you or Pete?
Me.
Okay. So you have the authority there.
A little bit, but he's catching up. He's catching up.
There you go. No, but
in terms of seminars for sure.
Yeah, so my question is, I don't know that I'm aware of any affiliates that have 3 owners. So that's a unique scenario. And I know right out of the gate, you know, we don't have to talk numbers, but you know, first, if you know anything about running an affiliate, you're like, okay, so first of all, they generate enough revenue to pay 3 people and a head coach. And then secondly, how does that split work? Not in regards to percentage, but how do you have essentially 3 cooks in the kitchen, and how do you balance that relationship of like, this is your swim lane, this is my swim lane, this is your swim lane?
Well, first of all, like, someone told me to get a partner when I first wanted to open up a gym, and I think that's
really
one of the best advice. Yeah, one of the best advice I've received. And you say, right? Because people say like, no, you know, watch out for partners. It's, you know, it's like a marriage and it can end badly. You know, all you hear about is these terrible stories. And knock on wood, we don't have any yet. But I've had this chat with an affiliate owner in Ottawa when he was talking, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are lucky. You know, you guys are 2. You have a partner." I'm like, dude, that has nothing to do with luck. What I'm lucky. Here's what I'm lucky for. I'm lucky that we get along so well. But it was a conscious decision to go out and get a partner. So that was 100%. I did not want to get into it by myself. And I don't think I had the knowledge or the expertise in CrossFit to do it by myself. Right. So I needed to fill that void. And that's what Reza did for me. He was more experienced in CrossFit. He was a better coach, you know, so that's why we molded the two, and it was awesome. But the roles in the, how do you stay in your own lane? That's a really good question, man, because honestly, up until recently, we haven't really set real lines. So
which makes it even more interesting, which means you guys are kind of living off of like the good dude rule, which is like, we're all good dudes. We like each other. We can sort this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of like back end stuff, like percentages and that's
yeah.
And so it was only about recently that we started paying each other different wages, different salaries. Yeah. So just based on the work and the amount of classes that the people were doing. Cause I think that's another thing that affiliate owners don't do. They don't pay themselves for classes. Yep. And then anyway, so we were like, okay, so these are the classes we coach. This is the stuff that we do outside. And for a little while it was basically even. So we figured out like, hey, you do this, I do this, he does this, that's even across the board. So we'll add, you know, X amount of dollars on top of all the classes that we coach as their salaries. So, and then it was when we started, so for the programming, we did for a long time. I would program 3 weeks, Reza would program 3 weeks, and then Pete would program 3 weeks. And then we finally decided to just give it all to Reza.
Yep.
And it was when we also decided to sell the NCR program and just have like more of a streamlined process. We said, okay, well, Pete's going to take care of this. I'll take care of this portion. And then Reza's going to take care of that. And so to be honest, it was a little wishy-washy who was doing what for a long time.
Yeah.
And then finally we were able to just, you know, set some real parameters. But having said that, since the beginning, I've always been the back end guy, the accounting, the bookkeeping, the membership management software. And Rez has always been, you know, answering emails, face to face, programming.
Okay.
Like that, yeah.
So on that note, so you guys have that kind of like sparsed out between the three of you, and everybody's kind of got like probably where their skill set lies. And then from a standpoint of what do you think makes a successful affiliate? Like, obviously you guys are doing it. Like you guys are in meaning like, and like, I really get bent about that statement, which is like, we run a successful affiliate. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, if you're making a living running your affiliate, like that's a successful affiliate. So clearly you guys are doing that. But what do you think is it that makes you guys a successful affiliate?
Man.
Or maybe not even you guys, just like in general, like, you know.
Yeah. It's funny because I think like, yeah, we're a successful affiliate, but man, we could be so much more successful.
Yeah, different conversation. So I agree with you 100%. It's like which we can encapsulate by literally everything we've talked about prior to this. So
like, you're right.
It's a foregone conclusion.
So successful affiliate, I really enjoy the fact that we're, like you said, like we're being able to create a living for more than one person. So there's essentially 4 of us that live off the gym. Up to your gym. Like, I don't care if you have 100 members or 500. Are people consistently showing up to your gym every day? And like, that's the number that I look at every single day. How many people walk through the door? And then I put that on my top number of members.
Yep.
I'm like, how many is that? Is it 50%? Is it 60%? Did we only see 35% of our members today? And on a daily basis, we see over 50%. Like, to me, I think that's one thing that makes a successful affiliate. Are people coming? After that,
I don't think enough. You bring that up. Like, I've always seen like the numbers in the past were like roughly 40% a day. But I would imagine that 50% is pretty high.
Yeah.
Like, and I bet you there's not a lot of people that track that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
How long, when did you guys start tracking that? I'm going to grab my charger real quick.
Started tracking that, on a unofficial basis, when we actually just started having people sign into classes. So for a long time, I didn't even ask people to sign into classes. We only started that maybe like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't have a cap on classes, so we're just like, whatever, people sign in. Yeah, and I was very on top of who owed money and bills and everything like that, so we didn't need that. But once I started losing track of that, and more members in the gym, and you just need to have more of a process there, and just no way of tracking anything if you don't have people signing into your gym, right?
That is for sure. The other thing, so if you're tracking attendance, you're obviously tracking people who are absent, and then like, what are you guys doing with those people that you haven't seen in however many days it is?
Yeah. Are you looking for your charger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for mine too. I'm gonna go find mine.
But that's always important, right? It's something that like most people don't like. I would venture to say like that is like a major flaw for a lot of CrossFit gyms. Is they're like, that's where like the Globo gym, well, not the Globo gyms, where the Orange Theories of the world probably do significantly better. Is
just better like, processes and
that process for doing that. And it's funny that you brought that up, because it was actually something I was digging into earlier today, because like I've never been super happy with some of the tracking metrics in some of the software systems, because it like it's not always the easiest to find out if so and so hasn't been here in a week. Yes, I understand that. Well, if you know your members, you should just remember. And I'm like, okay, cool in theory. However, like I've got a billion things rolling through my mind, and I'm not on the floor for every single class. So how in the hell am I supposed to remember 85 people? That it's just not realistic. So I'm constantly trying to figure out a better way to like systematically, because then you run into the other thing, which is like people don't want to check in. That's like, God damn it. Like, wow, that's so hard. So what do you guys do?
Well, what we did for it's been a process, man, but like obviously every new member that walks in, and that's just the way that we do things. So they don't have an issue adhering to that, but it's basically, we just set up an iPad right beside the whiteboard, and I just write the name on the board that's on the iPad. And if your name's on the board, well, you didn't sign in. Sorry, go sign in, or you don't get a score on the board.
Got it.
Yeah, and then it's like, or during the warm up, I'll just take a look at attendance and see who hasn't signed in. And just be like, hey, you didn't sign in, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, oh yeah, well, my bill is due. In my head, I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very aware of that, actually. But yeah, but we're talking about like data and tracking. Like a lot of it is hard, and you kind of have to dig in their membership software to go find some important information. But yes, people who aren't showing up, but also like, do the people that were the people inside your gym 3 months ago, like how many of those people are still there? Like that, that churn rate, or a year ago, or 6 months. And there's a lot of like reports and changing this and dates and that, like in the membership software. Like, just give me that number. I think that's a super valuable statistic to have, like in a percent form. And I think the CrossFit gyms would probably be a little bit higher than normal gyms, obviously, but I think we'd be surprised. Like there's still a pretty big turnover rate. Like even in our gym, we have a lot of members, but I mean, people leave, people move, people cancel their memberships. People think it's too expensive, or new people come. So that statistic there is pretty important. Like, where do you spend your money on getting new members or keeping the ones that you have?
Yes. And
and we've probably heard this, like it's way cheaper to keep members than to go get new ones. But at the end of the day, people are going to leave. So you still have to go out there and search for new members.
Yeah. Which is a tough topic. And the answer is just like everything else in CrossFit is like, you have to do both. You have to do everything possible to keep who you have, but you absolutely
Yeah.
cannot ignore the fact that like if you're not developing, the subset of sales and bring in new
Mhm.
people, like you are in deep shit. Like because
Mhm.
we can all hang our hat on like we have the best coaching, we have a great community, we have like really low churn rate, blah 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 blah. But I mean that is the nature of the gym business is turnover. Like it's it's one of those things where like when you look at it and you look at like how often you're going to have to resell or replace somebody, it's almost you look at those
Mhm.
metrics you're like why would anybody do that for a business?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
This
that's
isn't
ridiculous.
worth it. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
like you mean they're only going to stay for 3 months? And like we have people that have been with us for years. I mean, like I would say the bulk of our members are with us are like more than 3 years.
Yeah.
But we do have the other ones that are here for like 6 months, and then they're just like, it's just not for me anymore. And I'm like, God, like how did we fail on that? Like, what did we not deliver? You know?
Yeah. Do you
Um,
ever wonder like how can someone be so into CrossFit and fitness and working out for like 3, 4, 5 months and then stop?
I don't
Like
get it.
what happened?
I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Like how do you not like, and they've seen the benefit. Like you've seen it happen. Like someone comes for a year, loses a shitload of weight, feels great, comes all the time, and then just like fizzles out. And not doesn't just go to another gym, just stops.
Stops. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think my thesis on that is like they didn't love it or they didn't feel um wanted in the community, right? So like the reality is like we both have been running affiliates long enough to know that most people don't leave CrossFit gyms because they had like a bad experience. They leave because they for whatever reason became indifferent to the experience, absent
Hmm.
of like the exercise, meaning like they I don't know, name any number of weird things that are kind of like intangible, like nobody said their name enough times, or like we didn't reach out and text them and ask them why they weren't there, or
Yeah.
they didn't get a PR for a while, and in the reality, like we both know that that doesn't even really matter because they dropped 12 pounds of body fat. So I think that's why, and it's like sometimes it's just really tough, and we get emotionally attached to that. We're just like, God, man, like you're
Oh
doing so
yeah.
well, like you don't know it yet, but like you're gonna regret that at some point. Like, you know,
Yeah. And it's hard to not take that personally as well, right? It's like, man, this
super
guy's
hard.
getting, they're getting results. They seem like they're enjoying it, and then I just start thinking like, did I do something? Like,
Yes.
it's like a breakup. It's like, is it me? What, And I think honestly, like after a little while, a couple years of owning the gym, I still think about that, but I have to let that go. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it was you. Maybe he just didn't like you. And that's the
Yeah.
nature of these small businesses, right? We're
Yes.
built on community. And it's very, very possible that people come to your gym for a couple months and they realize, that Paul guy, I don't really like him.
He's too intense.
You know? Yeah, maybe, so I'm gonna go somewhere else. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Go find the community that you enjoy that makes
Yes.
sure that you keep moving.
Yes. And that I have always said this, and I will always said this. I would prefer that somebody does CrossFit in somebody else's facility than not do it at
Hmm.
all. Like if you left my
Absolutely.
facility and you had one of two options, which was not do it or do it at somebody else's facility,
Yeah.
100% of the time I'm taking it doing it at somebody else's facility. Like I
Yeah.
would just prefer that.
Yeah. And then you hear where they go and you're like,
Oh,
why?
so on that note, so you guys, so NCR or CrossFit NCR, you guys offer affiliate. Well, you guys also offer like a multiple tracks of programming. And
Hmm.
in your programming, what do you guys like have a goal in your programming? Like, what are you trying to achieve in your programming, either for the affiliate or the athletes for those coaches?
So for our goal for the affiliate is just to make their lives easier, and
Yeah,
just like any other affiliate programming that's out there, which is a lot. Once you do
yeah,
your research, everyone's selling affiliate programming, and it's to kind of use that affiliate model to build a connection with them.
yeah,
You try to build a connection with your members. I like to build a connection, or try to, with the affiliates that are on board. And I know that on a larger scale, that's probably not possible, but we're still super small. And what we try to do is just we want affiliates to run better classes. Like we want them to just find a way to or help them find a way to give a better product. Not that they're not giving a good product to start with, but just helping them with that. And it's hard. It's hard because, you know, programming is programming, and it really doesn't matter what program you're following, but it's the structure of the class and making sure that, you know, it's programmed accordingly with the warm up, with the skill, and that, you know, in the planning of that class, that there's, you know, proper progression and that there's a nice flow to the class. So our goal, and you see, I'm just talking about the affiliate because basically that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Like I want people on the NCR program as individuals, but what that creates is that person doing that workout by themselves in the corner of another person's gym, and I don't like that.
Yeah. No, I
Basically,
agree.
right?
And I asked because we're getting ready to launch our programming, and I feel the same way. Like, we're going to launch Best Hour programming. It's going to be entirely affiliate based. We're going to have individual track programming if they want it, but I don't particularly care about that. What I want to do is the same thing you do, which is I want people to have like the best hour of their day. And I think people could do better there. And it's not because they're not trying to do a good job. It's because they don't know any better, like we already discussed. So what is it? I guess two questions. The first one is, what do you think it is most affiliates and coaches could do better in that 60-minute window?
What could they do better? They could coach.
All right, so elaborate. I think you and I are both on the same page.
We're, for sure. But it's actually to not just be engaged for that hour, but to actually coach, to give people, you know, tangible things to do in their movement to help them better. It's to help them move better, or it's just, you know, to actually watch them move, being correct, and you know, help them. You know, it's a stupid answer and it's a quick one, but it's just to coach more. Like, where you're not just explaining the workout at the whiteboard. You gotta get in there. You gotta, you know, during the warm up, you gotta talk to them. You gotta watch them move. You know, during the workout, everything. So I think one of the reasons why we give that class outline is not necessarily like, hey, follow this to a T minute by minute. It's just to give reminders like, hey, we're going over this today. Here's a suggested progression. Here are things to look for. You know, it's like, oh, if a person doesn't do that already, they'll read that as a coach and be like, oh, okay, then I'll start looking at that, and maybe, you know, I'll see something. Or it's just a reminder, like, get in there. Like, every rep is an opportunity for you as a coach to jump in. And that's kind of the goal there. What could they do better? Coach, get in there.
I think I asked that question. I knew what you were going to say, but I asked it because I think it's important to people to hear that, specifically coming from somebody like you who, you know, is a competitive athlete, who has lived a large part of their CrossFit life doing probably pretty high volume training, but still understands and grasps what should be happening in a 60-minute window and what the effect on that on your members is. Because I would agree, you know, like, we were just down in Raleigh, and, you know, we had an awesome experience at every gym that we went to. We went to 10 gyms in 4 days, but I walked away with the same thing. And I'm like, man, what's happening here is amazing. Like, people are getting fitness, they're losing weight, they're having a good time. I was like, but they could all get coached a little bit better. And some people might be listening to this and thinking, like, well, it's kind of a dick thing to say. It's not. Like, it's the truth. Like, in my affiliate as well, like, we can always do things better. And that is like the goal, right? And I think that if affiliates would look at what their service is and treat it the same way we do in the level 2, which is like, hey, we're not calling you out because you're a bad person. We're calling you out because they could be better, right? It has nothing to do with you. Like, it's just be like, you could be more efficient. Like, you could say this better. You could, you know, run through this progression faster. You could explain it a little bit more clearly. Like, you could do all of those things. And I don't think enough of us put a fine enough kind of like lens on that aspect of the, you know, everybody's like, we have great programming. Like, the facility's great. We got ski ergs and we got all this other crap. And I'm like, cool. I don't care. Like, I don't care, you know?
Yeah. and you're also, from your point of view, you're also trying to coach better, right? Like
Yeah.
you're also during your class and at the end of your class, like I said earlier, like you look back and you're like, did I actually coach everyone? Did I give everybody a little something? And I can think back in my class this morning, like near the end, I was like, oh, man, those people in the corner, like I didn't get to them as much as I wanted to, and I remember thinking like, damn it. Right. So,
yeah, I felt the same way the other day. I was teaching, I've been playing around with like different, like I've been trying to come up with like different progressions to teach the ski erg. Cause it's like, it's fairly intuitive and it's like, yeah, you can get on there and just pull, but most people don't do it very well. And I'm like, man, how can I get these people to do this right and learn to like, move their hips and then their hands, even though they already know that, but they're not doing it here for some reason. And it's like walking, and I was like in there by myself, like doing it. And then I tried it in next class and I'm like, nah, it didn't work. I didn't really like it. Like, I got to find a better way to do this, Yeah.
You're trying different things. It's amazing. And it's like, so sometimes when I think that, and I answer your question by saying they should coach, like you said, like someone could be listening to this and say, what a dick. But like we literally do everything that we tell our participants to do.
Yeah.
Like in terms of just trying to think about getting better and looking for faults and seeing correcting and all that jazz. Like we do it too, man. So it's like I could be a better coach. And if the experience that I have, I can put on paper and send it to an affiliate owner to say, hey, read this. This is how I would lead this class. Hopefully this helps. And that's the service that we sell, that we offer.
That's cool.
Yeah. And there's enough affiliates worldwide, man. It's not a saturated market, right? There's 15,000 affiliates and a lot of them need help. I
think collectively we all could use help in some aspect or another. Like nobody's immune to it. And it's just like, find out what works for you the best. And, and we like at Best Hour of Their Day, like we never really intended to write programming because it's just kind of like, why would we write programming? We're not like special. Like most people that do that are like games level folks. And I'm like, well, that's not the point. Like we're not sending people to the games. I'm like, I know how to run a fucking good class. Like I also know how to write lesson plans and I know how to put together progressions and I know where people get tripped up in their classes. Right. So it's like, I look at it this way. It's just like, we're going to like our programming, largely what yours is too. What it sounds like is I'm designing a program that gets people fitter and develops your coaches simultaneously. Right. So I'm actually chasing the coaches via the programming because that is the fundamental thing that we all have to navigate every single day, which is like you come in, there's a workout. I'm like, everything is built on top of the workout. Like whatever it is, it's like the experience is built on top of the workout. The lesson plan is built on top of the workout. The coach's ability to teach, see, and correct and group manage a group is all built on top of that workout. So for me, it's like, I don't really care about the workout. Like to some extent, it's really hard to write shitty programming. Like, it's just like,
it's easy to, Yeah.
It's fairly simple if you keep it simple, but like we're going to build everything on top of that. So, and it sounds like that's what you guys are doing, which is like, giving coaches something to think about, which is like, hey, use this Bergner progression or try this handstand push-up progression or something like that. So that's cool. That's what I think people, and I think there's a lot of people that are just giving programming, but not giving the coaching aspect of it. And I think,
or they'll give coaching notes or whatever and talk about stimulus, but like, I mean, a lot of people can do that, right? There's a lot out there, so you got to shop around and see what kind of value you're getting for the you're paying for sure.
That's really cool. Do you guys have any? Do you guys do any like yearly goals for the gym for the affiliate?
No, I have a number of athletes that I'd like to be at, but not on a yearly basis.
Okay.
Just like, I feel like we have the capacity for another 100 members.
What do you have now?
Like 330.
So I love that you said that because I have this weird, probably grandiose belief that every CrossFit gym can have 400 athletes. Now I don't know how to do that, but I do think that's a real scenario.
Yeah. And here's my math. Okay. you see 50% of people on a daily basis. So you have 400 members, you have 200 people walking through your door. You have 20 people per class, 10 classes a day. Boom. Anybody can have 400 members. What is stopping you from having 400 members? It's not size. Exactly. It's not size of the facility. It's not the equipment that you have. You can have 10 classes a day, 20 people in every class, and run a good affiliate in 5,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet, 10,000. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. So 400 is definitely doable. It's possible, but yeah, it's you. It's the affiliate, and it comes back to when you were asking like, what makes you guys a successful affiliate? A lot of affiliates are going to say this, but man, we have unreal coaches. It's just like we spend so much time developing ourselves as coaches, developing our new coaches, you know, through our internship process. And everyone will say like, yeah, we have an internship process. Cool. It's great that you have one. Not as good as ours, you know? And in my head,
I think you guys can say that because like your coaches now have credentials, like they've been vetted through the highest levels, right? And I think that's different than when like everybody says they have great coaches, but my question is always like, based on what? Like, you think they're great? That's like me being like, I'm handsome because my mom says I'm handsome. Like, yeah, my mom loves me, and I could be, you know, cross-eyed, and she'd be like, you're the best. You're my my mom would be like, you're my favorite son. I'd be like, Mom, I'm your only son. You know, she'd be like, whatever, you know, you're the best. You know, so I think it's like we have to stop looking at our own affiliates through rose-colored glasses and be like, are my coaches really that good? Or am I just saying that because it makes me feel good? You know?
What I often think, Fern, is I'll think if I put this coach in front of, you know, Jason or in front of Austin coaching a class, what would they think? Would I be embarrassed? Would I be happy? Would I be proud? And that's a sort of thought process. I think like, then if I'm not happy with that, then it's my job as an affiliate owner to make sure that this person is good, not just for the product that we're offering, but just, well, basically actually for the product that we're offering, right?
Yeah.
Am I proud of this?
I feel the same way, and I look at it a little bit differently, like even on a more like egregious scale, which is anybody that says that, I'm like, would you be willing to flip on Facebook Live and just have your whole class for the world to see? And I'm like, there's a lot of people that would fucking backpedal real quick if I was like that. Like, and I feel like we could do that, but I'm also fully aware that like we could be better, and there would be absolute legitimate criticism of what we do, and that's okay. But I'm not embarrassed of what people would see. Like, I'd be like, you're going to see a great class that is just like anything else that could be improved, and because that there at no point is that not a scenario. But anytime she's like, well, we have great coaches, I'm like, how great is great? Like, you gonna put that on the old interwebs and see if it's great or what? Like, you know?
Yeah. I think you asked me a good question during the podcast, if I remember correctly, when we did it with Pete, and it was like, how do you get better as a coach? Like you say, like get better, you know, but like, how do you do that? How does someone do that at their affiliate by themselves without the luck of getting on staff and being exposed to all the great trainers in the world, like, and seeing all these people squatting and deadlifting that aren't your regular members? Like, how do people actually go out and get better?
I actually don't think it's hard. I just think it's the same way you and I got better at hockey and basketball. And I don't know how much film you watched of yourself playing hockey, but somebody watched you play hockey. Like, I know for me, I watched endless hours of film of basketball of myself, not because I wanted to see myself play basketball, because I analyzed every possible thing that was going on at the court at any given time. And I don't think there's any reason people can't do that for their CrossFit classes. You know, like set up a GoPro in the corner and just watch yourself coach a class. Even if you don't know anything about what you're looking at, I guarantee you would find something to critique yourself on.
Yeah.
I 100% guarantee you would be like, I talk too much, or this logistical layout was a nightmare, or I was late simply because the clock on the wall in this video says that I started the class at 5:03 and the class starts at 5. You know, so I think, you know, I don't think people should rely solely on video, but it's a pretty powerful tool just to just smash yourself.
So watch yourself and get other eyes on you, but that's also tough to find.
Well, that's the point, right? Is like, if I can watch the video, I can give it to anybody else to watch it. Like you can put an hour's worth of video on Vimeo. Like you're gonna have to go home and download it, but like whatever. Do you want to get better or not is my question. Like let that shit upload overnight and then send it to somebody. Be like, watch this. And be like, and any one of us would be happy to do that, So that's what I think people to do. I don't think people are seeking it out. That's my personal opinion. So
they get comfortable, right? They're comfortable in their affiliate. Yeah.
Or they're afraid of finding out that they're not that good. Like you and I both did at some point. We're just like, God, I suck at this. Like I should probably get better.
What a realization. Changed my life. Changed my life. It's true though.
It's so great.
It made everything different. It's like when I realized I was a shitty coach.
Yeah. I mean,
and I keep telling myself that.
Yeah. Every day. I'm like, God, like these people really pay me for this? No, some days I feel like that, but like that's a sliding scale, right? Like it's like my bad day is not the same as somebody else's bad day and vice versa. So my goal is to go ahead.
I was gonna say sometimes you finish a class and you're like, oh, fuck, Dave, I destroyed that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, there's some days.
So the opposite is true.
I was just like, God, I'm like, that was the greatest class of all time. Like that, everybody got their fitness on, had fun.
Yeah,
timeline was.
So just like when you think you have a great class or a bad class, like I don't know how much people actually see that or realize it. Because like sometimes I'll finish a class, I'll go to my wife, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, that was a shit class. Like, this happened and that. She's like, well, I think everyone had a great time. Like nobody noticed any of that, so you're fine.
Well, that's why I think at some point other people don't notice it because the skill set gets to a point where like the things that you notice are not noticeable to the untrained eye.
Yeah. So does that help you kind of let go of a lot of things, right? Like.
No, because I still judge myself on it, and I'm just like, I'm like, that's unacceptable. Like what? Like what? That shouldn't happen. I've been doing this too long, and then I'm like, you're always gonna like, nobody's immune to that. It's gonna happen. But I think it was James Hobart who like hit me with this one. And then this was about seminar, but I took it into my classes, and he was like giving me some feedback on like running groups and just lectures in general. And I don't think it was anything specific to me, but it was just kind of more like a lesson, which is like, listen, mistakes happen, right? Like you're going to be over, you're going to be under, like you're going to forget things. Like all of that is part of the whole process. He goes, that's not what's important, or kind of like what I think his words were like, that's not what I'll get upset about. He's like, I'll get upset if you don't know why. If you're just kind of like aimlessly floating around and you don't know why your class was late or why your lecture was over or why like you don't know that your group is running over. He goes, now we have a problem because there's a lack of awareness there. But like what you said is like, you're immediately doing an evaluation of your class afterwards, just like I am. And if you walked up to me immediately after a class, I can tell you all the things that I would change about it immediately. I'm like, I lost 4 minutes over there. I forfeited 2 at the whiteboard because they were messing around. I should have broken the rowers out sooner. Like all those things. Like I know that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't think enough people are. I think they clock in and then they clock out, and there's no critical evaluation of what they just did each time they step on the floor.
Yeah.
So
how do you have that if you're just a coach and an affiliate and you don't own it? It's tough too, right?
Yeah, I think but I think there's just some intrinsic, like either you want to do this or you don't,
Yeah.
But that's another discussion about incentivizing people to want to do it for a living, like you stated earlier, it's hard to really push hard on somebody who does this part-time. So cool. Well, dude, this has been awesome.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Anything else you want the folks to know about Paul Tremblay or NCR CrossFit?
Maybe for another episode. Okay. Have me back on. I like this.
I'll have you back on. I'll hit up Pete. I'll get Pete on there. We'll talk about how he's now surpassed you as a competitive athlete, and then and then I think it'd be cool to have you guys both on. So we'll set it up, bro.
Awesome, man.
Cool. Enjoy your weekend off, dude. I know I got one off
too. You too.
All right, guys, if you guys got questions for Paul or just about anything they got or about their affiliate programming, hit us up. We'll pass you guys on. But you can just look it up, just NCR CrossFit. Or is it CrossFit NCR?
It's CrossFit NCR, yeah, and we sell the NCR program.
Yeah. Hit it up. Check it out. There's some good stuff in there. I was looking at it before we hopped on the podcast. So cool. If you got questions, guys, hit us up, and we will see you next time. Thanks, brother.
See you, dude.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. Just a reminder, Fern and I have an amazing new show called Dropping In, premiering on our YouTube channel in early 2020. Be sure to head over to the Best Hour of Their Day YouTube channel now. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes. You've probably heard us talking about it, summarizing some of our trip. You can see some highlights up on our Instagram as well at Best Hour of Their Day. But I promise you, you're not going to want to miss out. So subscribe now. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for letting us be a part of your lives. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of Best Hour of Their Day.